Believers IAS Academy. As part of our film series 2021 Organizations and Reports, today we have Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. It is an informal strategic dialogue between India, USA, Japan and Australia, and its aim is to ensure and support free, open and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. So, the Indo-Pacific region would be this area where there is going to be this area where a huge amount of trade is happening, the area where Pacific Ocean and Indian Ocean is touching. So in this area there is a huge trade that's happening, and see, the Quad nations and the China has a problem because China has a very, in the news you might have seen that China claims that it has historical ownership over nearly the entire region of South China Sea, which gives it the right to manufacture islands. So it's manufacturing a lot of islands, and there are a lot of disputed islands which China is unilaterally going and adopting. And also the International Court of Arbitration has already rejected this claim in 2016, but China is not turning around. So in that case, these four countries are formed together in order to counter China's intentions, and hence we have Quad. Now, what is the problem with USA? First of all, if you have been tracking news, you would be knowing that China is a very huge rising power. We know that USA is the biggest economical and defense power in the entire world, but China is challenging that. China is becoming a bigger power. So USA sees China as its rival. Now USA had followed a policy to contain China's increasing influence in East Asia. Also, it sees this coalition, the USA sees the coalition of Quad as an opportunity to regain its influence in the Indo-Pacific region. And also the US has described China along with Russia as a strategical rival in its national security strategy and national defense strategy. Alright. And about Australia. Australia is concerned about China's growing interest in its land, infrastructure and politics, and influence on its universities. So if you know, China's one belt one road initiative is very popular. Like, China is going to have huge transport corridors that is going to connect sea routes and also through roads, and like that. China is having a huge program. So similarly, if you have looked, China actually gets medals with the politics of many countries. For example, like in Sri Lanka, China has been able to take over the Hambantota port. So Australia is concerned about China's growing interest in its land, infrastructure and politics. Alright. And also, you also have to know that Australia is usually dependent on China for many things, like its overwhelming economic dependence on China for prosperity. Australia has continued its commitment to a comprehensive strategic partnership with China. And also Japan and China over time has had a lot of quarrel. So China's territorial transgression is already there in the region. As I said, many disputed islands that Japan claims to be its and China is claiming to be its. So disputes are there between China and Japan. And also Chinese economy is a lifeline to Japanese economy, where net exports contribute exactly 1/3 of Japan's economic growth since the beginning of 2017. And Japan has also agreed to involve in the Belt and Road Initiative by participating in infrastructure programs in third countries. So Japan has stake in China's program. And India, we know that related to India and China has fought already one war in 1962. And apart from that, recently we already know, we have seen the news that there has been border issues where a lot of soldiers have come into the Indian territory. And apart from that, in recent years, China's violation of international norms, construction of military facilities on reclaimed islands in the South China Sea, and its growing military and economic power pose a strategic challenge to India. Even if you look at India's security scene, like Pakistan, China is known to have a huge connection with Pakistan. They are funding Pakistan in many ways. So India considers this as a strategic issue. And considering China's strategic importance, India is carefully balancing China on one hand and the US on the other. Because even though this is the case, we are also dependent on China economically, because a lot of imports we are doing and we have a good trade with them. But it is important for India to balance China and US. Now, what about the challenges? Like, as I said, China's is very close to ASEAN. If you know about the ASEAN countries, those 10 countries which is presented in Southeast Asia. So the ASEAN countries also have a well-knit relationship with China. So the regional cooperation economic partnership is a recent example of China's increasing influence over ASEAN nation. So even though that's the case, still some of the ASEAN countries have issues with China too. There are islands that belongs to the disputed islands between Philippines that China has taken over. So, apart from that, the economic power of China is another challenge. So, considering the economic might of China and the dependence of quad nations like Japan and Australia on China, so these economies are dependent on China on many factors. And the independence of apart from that, quad nations cannot afford to have a strained relations with it. And also convergence among quad nations. The nation in the quad grouping have different aspirations. It's not like we have the same India and Japan and the US and all have same interests. We have different interests. So there is no a common ground for every quad nations to stay together, right? So what is the way forward? So the Quad will need to have a clear vision for itself. It is important for members of the Quad not to be reactive, and it is also important to exhibit openness and ensure that all talk of a free and open Indo-Pacific area. Now India, Japan and Australia can take the lead in infrastructure projects, while US too needs to be more proactive. And the Quad should focus on building a robust regional consultation mechanism and coordinate with ASEAN nations on issue of regional importance. The Quad framework derives its geopolitical validation from India's association and presents a unique opportunity for India to be an active participant in shaping regional security architecture with global undertones. So that's all that we have about Quad today. And follow us on Instagram and do subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website to know about our institute. Thank you.